I think I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I never intended to have anything but a 45mm gauge track. But when I joined a local railway group, to my slight surprise, they only ran locomotives and rolling stock that ran on 32mm gauge track. So in order to host local meetings, I decided to squeeze in, because it was never really intended, to squeeze in a 32mm circle of track, which I accomplished by moving the 45mm stuff over a bit, widening the base in various places, and laid a 32mm line. All well and good, but I didn't actually have any 32mm gauge track, and I don't know what was in my mind, but I did have an awful lot of 45mm track lying about in the shed. So I decided to extract the rail from the surplus 45mm track and make up some wooden sleepers, bend the rail to shoot as I thought, and simply pin it down to some wooden sleepers for the 32mm track. All this took place 10 or 12 years ago. So when I pulled the rails out of my 45mm gauge track, which this lot is Pico I think, but I've also got Aristocraft, and I think there's another make somewhere. Well, I hadn't realised these, of course, they're all subtly different, but we won't worry about that. I was left with, well, I don't know, over 100 feet for sure, maybe more, of plastic sleepers. And I didn't throw them away, because you never know. So I simply threw them in 2 boxes in the shed, and that's where they are. Now the reality of my homemade 32mm sawed up miscellaneous bits of wood sleepers to which the rail is pinned for the 32mm track is that it's kind of beginning to annoy me, drop to bits really. Loads and loads of the sleepers, they're all coming loose, and although this thing's still engaged, but I think the end is nigh. So what to do about it? Well, I had various attempts and various thoughts, and as usual none of them were really any good, but what I then thought was, if I cut a bit out of the middle of the 45mm plastic sleeper bed and somehow joined the 2 halves together so that the sort of plastic tie things are about appropriate for 32mm gauge, then I could replace all those wooden bits of wood with this plastic. So that's what I decided to do. The conversion is likely to take up a significant proportion of my life, unfortunately. I've made a bit of a start just on this 32mm siding, and I think some of these ties are Pico, some are Aristocraft. All looks a bit messy, but I was on a bit of a learning curve as to how to accomplish this. Whether it will prove to be very durable, of course, is highly debatable. So to make sure I cut all the sleepers, the bits out in the middle at the right length, I've just made a rough guide plate here on my bandsaw. I just run the preformed, these are Pico I think, plastic sleepers along and chop the bits out in the middle. Hopefully not taking my finger with it, but who knows. And then to get the correct bit out of the middle, just run the cut bit along like that, which will remove the bit in the middle that we now no longer want. I should say this is the bit where you can remove your finger if you carry on like I do, but anyway. And there are the bits out the middle, all about the same length. I've counted my fingers and toes, I've still got 10 of each, so I think I'll count that a win. So here's the cut sections of the plastic track, waiting to be joined with the bits of wood when I cut, then pushed together and joined with the bits of wood. Although all my old wooden sleepers recovered from under the 32mm track look a bit manky, they've had so much preservative stuck on them over the years, they're all sound, they've not gone rotten. It's just that the nail fixings come loose, which is my objection. So what I'm going to do, I think, is to repurpose these a bit by reducing the section to fit inside the bottom of the Pico plastic track when I join it. And to do that, I've put a second guide on my saw. That's the first one, if you recall, for the plastic track, and this one is now set at a correct distance to re-profile these bits of wood. Never throw nothing away. I've glued the wooden joining strips into the bottom of this preformed plastic track. Glued that in just using standard waterproof PVA glue, used usually for joining timber together, but I thought I'd try it on this just to see how it works. I think it's worked, so we'll see. I've oversprayed the wooden reinforcements in the bottom of these sleepers with some matte car paint left over from something or other, which purports to be weatherproof, but doubtless it will be alright for this, I hope. Just to give a bit of protection to the wood. While doing all this, And simultaneously I've made a quiche for tomorrow night's dinner. Who says only women can multitask? A load of bloody rubbish. Just to prove that I did make the quiche while I was cutting up my bits of plastic track, here it is. This is either for lunch or tomorrow's dinner, can't make my mind up. Just a quick check that the first length of relay track actually does work, and it does. So there we have it. Only about another 100 feet or so of track to go. Thanks very much for watching. Hope it was of minor interest. Please subscribe and press the like button if you did actually like it. Many thanks.